I'm compelled by Schlock. I am compelled by Schlock. I am compelled
What is up, everybody? I am Darby Ellis Lewis Wilson. Welcome to Compelled by Schlock, the show where we talk about schlockingly bad movies. I'm joined by my companion, Chris Anonymous. What is up, Chris?
What is up?
Chris, I have
the direction.
I have some really bad news for you.
What
for
is
us in general as a flowering podcast. The problem is, the bad news is that I am a man of my word.
Okay. That is awful news.
And my word last week was that we are starting the journey to watch all of the Puppet Master movies. There are, I believe, 14 and counting Puppet Master movies. The good news is we won't be watching them all in a row. We will space them out as I think our sanity can take it. But I through this entire movie, I was thinking to myself, oh no, what have I done?
Yep. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, because you are a man of your word, and I'm like, man, that's a commitment. I did notice something.
Okay.
Part 2 is not available on Tubi right now.
Oh,
almost every other one is.
Well, so maybe good news for us that we have an excuse to not jump back into it right away. This, I can say, definitely not the movie that I remember.
I've never seen it.
I know that I've seen Puppet Master before, and I guess maybe it was Puppet Master 2 or 3, because when we watched this movie, I was like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah, I recall. I've never seen Puppet Master, but I recall Puppet Masters, and I think as a kid, like the movie poster for Puppet Master 3. That's the one I remember. And I think I probably saw 3 or parts of 3 back in the day.
That's the guy, the 6-shooter.
Exactly.
That's six shooters.
That's the Puppet Master image I remember. But yeah, I'd never seen this. And
this is not at all what I expected. So some quick things about this movie. Something that solves a lot of mysteries in this movie. This was made as a direct-to-video movie by Full Moon Pictures, kings of schlocky horror. It was made for somewhere between $400,000 and $600,000. So that finding that out really put a lot of pieces together for me. What's interesting is people behind making this movie, we would be remiss to not talk about. So the director of this movie is David Schmoeller. I never know how to say his name. Schmoeller, I think. Like Schlock. Schlocky
David
Schmoeller.
Not going to direct Puppet Masters anymore.
Right. Well, so he has directed a few more Puppet Masters, but it wasn't for a while, because I think there was maybe some behind the scenes drama between the person who's kind of the brains of the operation, who is Charles Band.
Yeah,
and
he's been on the show before.
He was our very first run of Compelled by Schlock, Corona Zombies, which I know that you loved, and I think you're a lifetime Charles Band fan because of that, right?
Actually, there are some movies in his list that I am a fan of. That is not one of them. But
well, what about this one? I think this series is like his baby.
I am a fan of the idea of this, and probably other things in this series. So I'm not a fan.
So some interesting things with this movie. So where Charles Band came from, I don't know if he did the movie directly prior to Puppet Master, or if he just did it in the past before Puppet Master. He did a movie called Dolls, I believe, which I haven't seen.
Yep,
probably
and that's
have to
kind
do
of
on
a
the show sometime.
precursor.
Yeah, the idea of the scary living toys, right? The evil
Right.
toys
Yeah.
genre. And so we have that. We have this idea of like evil toys, right? Now, David Schmoeller, he is responsible for a movie. He also Schmoeller. He's responsible for directing a movie that came out, I believe, in 1979 called Tourist Trap, which I think I told you about at one point in time, but you haven't seen it. Is that correct?
Correct.
So that movie is kind of a precursor slasher movie. I can't remember if it is before or after Halloween with Michael Myers, which is the first in the genre.
I think Black Christmas, people say, is the first, but I'd have to look at the dates. But they're all around Black Christmas, Halloween, the Tourist Trap. I think they're all.
Yeah, I've heard something about Tourist Trap. It's the first something slasher. Maybe it's like the first supernatural slasher. Poorly directed. I mean, was Halloween that great? But I would say
yes, it was.
Tourist Trap is pretty rad.
I would like to see it. Yeah,
and a big component of it is it's really weird because the title doesn't really let on to what the movie is actually about. It's about
there's no tourists, there's no trap.
Yeah. It takes place at a tourist trap, I guess. But the main feature of the tourist trap are these mannequins that I think are like psychically manipulated to come alive and move around.
So then the title is
psychics,
right?
And we have psychics moving around inanimate objects. Fast forward in time about 10 years to Puppet Master, we have this group of psychics. We have these evil dolls, these inanimate objects that are animated and moving around. So
it's like Dolls meets Tourist Trap.
Right.
Nice.
Exactly. So yeah, let's I don't know if I have a whole lot in my good category about this movies.
Okay,
so
do you want me to start with good?
It.
Okay.
Yeah. Tell me what was good, baby.
Okay, I loved the intro, like the music and the cool shot of the dolls, that little intro, little montage shot thing. That was good.
The
I like that.
Stereotypical full moon, 10-minute long intro.
Yep. William Hickey, I think. The old dude is the puppet master, man.
I love
him.
Adam Sandler.
He's the weird uncle in Christmas Vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love him. I've seen him in a couple other things.
Here he is. Now I don't know all of Will Hickey or William Hickey.
I think William Hickey, but I'd have to look it up again.
His friends probably called him Will. I don't know all of his career. Yeah. Hey Hickey. But
suck on this.
Do you think that Adam Sandler got his shtick from this dude?
That's the old guy. Yeah, maybe.
When he started talking in this movie, I was like, that sounds like Adam Sandler's. Oh, just a boo boo. You got to get to better.
Now I want to see Adam Sandler play him in a biopic about him,
or potentially in another Puppet Master movie.
The Adam Sandler Puppet Master. Hey, if Chris Rock can do a Saw movie, why can't Adam Sandler do a Puppet Master movie?
Have you seen that?
Spiral? Not yet. No, I want to.
I'd like to see it, but
so that's good. I love that actor, so that's good. I like the intro.
Let's pause here on the intro.
Okay.
I love the intro. I thought it was really like the best part of the movie. Like that actually had me really invested, and that's what I remember from whatever Puppet Master movie I saw. And if you look in the Puppet Master series, right? It's like Puppet Master number whatever, the Littlest Reich, the Access,
Right,
right? It's all about Nazis and stuff. And so I thought this movie was going to be about Nazis. No, just the intro.
Just the intro. Now, another good thing, and I'll come back to the intro. Yeah, I thought for their budget, the stop motion wasn't that bad. It was silly, but it was all right.
Well, I actually loved the puppets in this movie, and you're right, with that budget, that $400 to $600, that's really not a lot of money.
No, it was
in the movie making world.
Yeah.
I mean, this is for all intents and purposes a low budget film, and I think like all together it's something like there's less than 5 minutes of these puppets shown.
Yeah, I know.
Here we have Pinhead, which I love his intro where he crawls out of the casket, and they're just these human hands. Like, I mean, it's so hokey, but I really enjoyed that. Like it looked terrible but great at the same time. The puppets, they're at the top of my good column. I think they're very cool.
And the other thing I liked was the idea of psychics with unique powers all converging in a creepy hotel. Like that's the beginning of a possibly really cool movie.
It seemed like very 90s movie to me.
Yeah,
That
very
seems like
much.
a very 90s movie.
I think the execution of that idea terrible, but I like that idea.
Yeah.
That's what do you got for good?
Well, so like I said, the puppets, I think that they did a really great job of making puppets that are memorable. So right here we have Blade. He looks like, well, I found out that this puppet was made after Klaus Kinski, made to look like him. And now that I see it, I'm like, oh, obviously. But he looks like he looks like one of the Nazi spies. Like, I think it's just a really cool, like iconic design.
A skeletal thing that should have been like in Indiana Jones.
Right. Yeah.
Indiana Jones versus the Army of Skeletons. He's in it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's a great design. Pinhead, like we just saw with the big hands, that's a great design. Tunneler, which is the guy with they should have called him Conehead. I mean, his name's Tunneler, but he's got the drill. I think those are very awesome puppets. I think the Leech Woman is a little stupid because I really don't understand what the power is. Like the other puppets, like their deadliness, their what makes them dangerous.
She vomits leeches. That's the scariest one.
But are they real leeches?
Yeah.
Like are they?
She
are
has
they
the
real
magical
organic?
power. No,
So
they're
she's
real
magic.
leeches. Yeah. Well, of course they're all magic. They have Egyptian magic.
Right, and that's like another part of the story. It's just like, oh, by the way, it's Egyptian magic or something.
Right.
Like they just throw that in there. So, and the last thing that I have on my good list, and this is really silly and maybe should be in the schlock list, but the main character, Alex, Paul Detour, I think his name is. I'm not, his real name.
The professor, from Yale.
Professor, his hair, that helmet of hair, I was inspired by the entire movie. Like, I think how
he kind of has a Gary Shandling vibe in that picture.
It's a great picture where he's snoozing, and that's about as action packed as that character gets.
And he ends up being the main character. You know,
right?
What out of all of them?
So I'll go into the bad from here because I want to return not specifically to the picture we had up, but it's the same bad shot. We had this really great intro that built a lot of mystery and intrigue, right? These Nazis are coming to meet this guy with these animated puppets, and then we go from that to this picture and this shot. And for me, this is where the movie went awry. This shot right here, the camera slowly pushes into him sleeping at his desk. Like, is he like a terrible employee? Like, why is he sleeping at his desk? But like, just the movement of the camera really took me out of the movie. I was like, why is the camera pushing forward? Like, why is it so slow? The shot doesn't make sense to me. Just from this point in the movie, I was really taken out of it. And then from there, we just have these terrible character intros. Like, again, we had this great intro where we're meeting the puppets, and then we get into our real characters. And I'm like, who the hell are these people? Like, okay, so this guy, I don't necessarily know that Alex is psychic. I just know that he's like had a bad dream and a premonition. And then we go to Dana, I believe her name is, the psychic woman at the fair, the White Witch. But I'm not well versed in my actors, but in that scene, I did recognize Barbara Crampton, right?
Nice.
And I'm like, oh, okay, these are our main characters, right?
Nope.
They're not at all. But what's funny is, like, I watched some previews for this movie, and Barbara Crampton is absolutely advertised as being in this movie, like she's a main character or something.
That's
or
awesome.
Or at the very least, like she has a big cameo.
Right.
But no, it's this other gal. And then we changed the scene into the sex lab, where like I'm trying to figure out, okay, what do these people do? What's their deal? And they're just like asking this kid, like, if she's, I don't know, riding on a horse in a rain, and this this woman's rubbing her face. And again, I'm just like, I don't know who these people are. Scene changes again. They're back at the hotel. These people all come in and they like know each other. Terrible character intros. I didn't know who these people are. I didn't know why they're there. If they were going to tell a story about these psychic people, why did they spend the first 20 minutes of the movie building up a different story that ultimately had no bearing on the psychic story, other than these puppets exist?
Right.
That's my rant. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good, man. Convoluted. So my bad thing is also too many beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, we have this fairly cool intro. Again, I didn't quite follow it. I thought they could have been a little more explicit on like I knew that they were trying to find him, but I didn't know they were after like his magical puppets, right? I mean, you could infer that,
right.
But like, and I'm like, oh man, and he hides them and then he kills himself, and that's really extreme. And like, that was it. Was,
well,
but
it's actually a great intro.
No, it's a
like,
great
it
intro.
Builds a lot of intrigue.
But I would have liked it to be a little bit more user friendly, because like you have the puppets running and then you have the one who screams at the woman, and I enjoyed it. I was intrigued. That was my probably favorite part of the movie. I was still slightly lost, but that would have been fine if it would have continued. Instead, we get the worst character intros I think I've ever seen. I like the idea retrospectively of like having these people and you don't know how they're connected, then they all show up and then you learn how they're connected, but only if those people are interesting in their introductions.
Right.
And these people, I mean, they're barely
I think
introduced.
they tried. I think they tried to make them interesting.
Yeah, and they failed. Oh man, he looks at some leeches on his stomach, and then we cut to her, and for some reason she's faking being a psychic.
Yeah, I think she didn't want that guy to feel bad that like he was gonna work in construction.
Again, if you let the audience in on what you're doing, then we can kind of feel like why she's doing it, right? Instead of just like and then the weird sex lab is just bizarre.
that whole storyline is bizarre.
You could do it's bizarre and so out of place. Now you could do a movie about that, but in this, no.
It's just like, we got to get some sex into this movie. Sex sells it.
Yeah. Other bad things, the vague mystery, inherently silly, which I mean, you can't blame it for that. Some of the acting is just awful. Dana's accent. Oh my God. Oh, I couldn't take it. Mainly the beginning. And then my biggest gripe is that it's called Puppet Master. And except for like the last 15 minutes and the first 10 minutes, it has nothing to do with puppets. And even then it's only like
puppets.
It's only tangentially like well, that's what this psychic used to bring himself back to life. Well, no, he used Egyptian magic. He wouldn't have even had to have the puppets. He could have tried it out on that
Right.
dead dog that kept coming back to life. Like,
I have a theory about all of that, but
I would like to hear it.
hopefully we'll have enough time to do it.
yeah, I'm almost done here. Let me finish. I hate when the movies wait till the very, very end to put in the thing that you went to see.
Right. Exactly.
So back to you, man.
Two more bad things. One, back to the characters with that Alex. He's our main character, right? Our main focus in this movie. What does he do in this movie? He wanders the halls. Like, he wanders the halls, then he goes to bed because the couple, they're having sex, and he's like, shut up, and he's like trying to mute his ears. Later, he gets back up, puts his tie and his sports coat back on, and then goes and wanders the halls again. We know it's like at least 1:30 or 2 in the morning. He's still wandering the halls. He goes to sleep. He has the dream about going up to the room, and then we find out that it's not a dream, or I'm sorry, we find out that it is a dream, and then he wakes up in reality, and then we watch like most of the same footage again. So it's just like padding time. The dude is just wandering the halls the entire time.
Down a nice romantic evening with Dana.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, had his chance, man. And I think maybe my biggest gripe is the sound. I feel like the sound in this movie was atrocious. Apparently, a lot of the soundtrack was recycled from Tourist Trap. I think it was just maybe arranged differently. But the sound, like, I hated it. Nobody screamed when they were killed. Like the sound of like the bludgeonings happening and things like that. Like it just didn't convey the importance of that scene.
Right.
I was just like, the music and the overall sound design in this don't convey anything scary or intense, and it just made the movie boring in the end.
No, I'm 100% with you. I did think of one other good thing that I'll throw in. I liked the hotel itself on the outside shot. That's just a miniature that they made, and then they did some like forced perspective and stuff, and I thought that looked really cool, like especially with the budget. We are rapidly going through our show.
Yeah. Let's if our producer here will let us, let's go like 5 to 10 more minutes, because I really want to get this theory out, but I want to go to the schlock.
Okay, yeah, I'll go an extra 10 minutes.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay,
why not?
Yeah, we do it for the Puppet Master, but we don't do it for a 2.5 hour. Anyways,
hey, it's all new to us, but
right.
So schlock. What's your schlock?
Pretty
Show
much
me your schlock.
Okay, the leech woman, and especially the scene where she is attacking / killing the sex psychic.
Yeah. Does he not know the difference between a human and a small puppet?
/
she's like
leech.
She's like rubbing on him, and
well, he's got a blindfold.
That's great.
Yeah. Maybe she uses a lot of puppets, but they are
kinky.
So we just had, what was the drill one's name?
Tunneler.
We just had Tunneler kill the woman sex psychic, and now he's tied up on bed, and we have this weird music that's almost like it plays it like a comedy, right? Like it's the comedic timing. And it's really bizarre, especially coming on the heels.
Sound,
and just the music that they chose to play is very like funny comedy scene. Like, he doesn't know that it's actually a little doll with leeches.
Right.
But then we have this weird, really gross shot of like this little doll throwing up leeches, which is creepy and gross, and like just a bizarre tone. Like through the whole thing. And again, like the Last Supper, did you notice that when the coffin lid was up, they had a little painting of the Last Supper there?
Yeah. Do coffins have that? Is that
I don't think so, but just a bizarre choice. Like, it took me a second. Yeah, it's where Pinhead comes out.
First shows up. And you can see the like human hands.
Yeah. And it was just like, I'm like, what a strange thing. And maybe it is normal in some things. I
To
don't
me,
know.
that says like this is like more meaningful. Like this is a really meaningful movie. Like there's a lot of symbolism in it, but it like doesn't really. I
Pan
don't know.
out at all.
They do have a Last Supper, I guess,
They do.
around that time.
It just everything's so strange. A lot of the shots are really campy, which I loved. Like when she throws the pinhead down the flight of stairs and he's falling through the stairs,
Yeah.
like just little things like that.
Which also least terrifying villains ever. If you can just throw them.
Yeah, not scary at all. Like there's almost no scares. It was also really funny the way they shot Pinhead punching people, mainly Dana, but like it was just all the shots of that. It was just, I don't know. What was schlocky
Well,
to you?
Well, so going with shots, I back to the intro. Yeah, there he is falling. But back to the intro where Blade is running around and we have like the Blade's eye view, right? He's low to the ground.
It
and he's
reminded
running
me
all
of
over the hotel.
like the commercials that have dogs running.
It made me think of like an evil Toy Story.
Right.
But my big question is, how come nobody noticed him? These puppets are like 2 feet tall. And he's just running around. One person notices him after running through this bustling hotel of people. Like he is standing right in front of this Nazi guy, and the dude doesn't see him. That I thought that was schlocky. I thought it was cool. I thought it was an interesting concept because it's like if you didn't know what this movie was exactly, you're like, oh, what is it? Is it a puppet? Right? I thought it was a cool idea, but a little schlocky.
The other schlocky thing with the puppets is that I don't believe that half of them would have been created in the 1920s. Like the tunneler, that is not a 1920s puppet.
Like a drill, like a power drill.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, no. Like the Blade I could totally see from the 1920s.
Right. So I want to get this out really quick. My theory. And so I got to ask you a question. Who is the puppet master?
Hickey.
So, yes, but I think also no, because I think the end.
Oh, I think it's the woman.
Who the real puppet master is. It's Meg, right?
Yeah.
She's got the dog, Leroy. So this is my theory, right? That she is the one. She controlled Gallagher, I believe his name is, the main bad guy. She controlled him the entire time. And we can see that because we just had the shot up where Tunneler, he's holding Tunneler. Tunneler like drills into his leg. And at first we see blood. He pulls him out and he's got sawdust on the drill like a stuffed animal. And we see right here, if you can see that it comes out with sawdust. I think that's because he's stuffed. And also when we see his fingers get cut off,
there's that it's like an embalming fluid.
Yeah. So I guess originally it was supposed to be blood, but they're messing around with ratings or whatever. And they turned it to look like embalming fluid, meaning that he in some way has like, he's not like just a regular corpse. Like he's been embalmed. I guess that is a regular corpse. He's not living. He's been embalmed. He's full of sawdust.
Correct.
Much perhaps like the dog Leroy. And as soon as I saw that dog, I'm like, if that dog doesn't come alive, I'm going to be so disappointed. Yeah. And indeed, he comes alive at the end at the behest of Megan.
Yeah. So I think she was in on it. I agree with you. Now, my question to you, and I want to hear your whole theory, but my question to you is, when did she become in on it? Because
I think from the very beginning.
But why would you let your husband kill your parents then?
Bad writing, that's why. But okay, I don't know. Maybe she did it though. I think that she is a mastermind behind this whole thing. And the reason I think that is because at like the big reveal that we all knew that was coming, where all the dead people are sitting around the table, when Gallagher punches Megan and knocks her down, the puppets turn on him. And I was like, I don't understand this at all. Why would the puppets
that
turn on him? If he's the
Really,
puppet
I knew
master?
they turned on him because I had that shot like when the puppets become the master. I thought they turned on him when he started talking trash about him.
It's that shot right there.
Yeah, and I thought he had just said that I'm tired of doing it on stupid dolls and I wanted to do it on something else. And so I thought they took offense to it. But did he just punch?
Yeah, he just punched her. He slapped her aside, and the puppets are like, "Whoa, what?" And so he's beating up Alex. She tries to intervene. He slaps her aside, and then the puppets are like, "Whoa, hold on." And so I think that implies with that ending that she is the one who's actually controlling the puppets. Now, for what reason, to what end, I couldn't say.
Right. Well, I mean, because part of the plot has to revolve around Gallagher, because so he was looking for these puppets because they would lead him to the Egyptian magic of eternal life. Right. And so he got together with all these psychics several years ago, and he was a real piecer to them. And so they all learned to hate him. But then he finds something out, goes to the hotel, marries this girl just so he can get access to the hotel, starts tearing the hotel apart in the name of renovation to try and find these dolls. Finds the dolls, finds the Egyptian book of magic, starts messing around with it. And then I did like his excuse for why he invited him to kill him. He's like, well, we're all connected psychically, so you would have figured it out sooner or later, and I don't want anyone knowing. So I had to lure you here and kill you. Like, yeah. That's kind of a cool twist on, like, the only reason you're killing all these people is because they're psychically linked to you.
Yeah.
So
that's a better, different movie.
Right. So that's the basic plot. Now, you're right that it ends with the shot of the dog coming to life in her hands. So it implies some weird secret, right? So if she were involved, why is she doing it? Like, beyond her being the mastermind, do you have anything else?
Perhaps we will find out once Tubi puts up part 2.
Okay, because yeah, I agree.
Maybe she's the long lost granddaughter of Turin, the original puppet master, or something. I don't know.
Now, is Turin the original puppet master, or is that Hickey in the beginning?
That's Hickey in the beginning.
Okay.
I believe. Yeah.
Huh.
The one making the puppets. But
it just scratched my head a whole lot with this movie.
Well, it was all over the place. Maybe they'll become more clear. I definitely don't think this is probably the best puppet master. I think the best is yet to come.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing that was interesting is that the puppets become the good guys in the end.
Yeah, I wish they'd would have explored that a little bit more. And I think that they do in other movies.
Yeah, well, and the other thing that they said in this movie is that the puppets take on the personality of their master.
Right.
So they could just be singing and dancing, or they could go on a killing spree. Although having a drill for a head, I don't know how that's really ever going to be happy.
It's odd that, like, he has written in his journal that, like, I'm afraid that they'll become dangerous in the wrong hands. Well, why did you make them with, like, knives and hooks and belching leeches? Right. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, I think we need to wrap up. I believe we are on Twitter now. Is that right?
We are officially on Twitter. Yeah.
And the handle
Schlock.
is
Schlock Show.
The Schlock at Schlock Show.
Yes.
Right on Twitter.
Say that. Tweet that 6 times fast.
And what is our movie for next week?
Well, in honor of Thanksgiving week, we are going to be watching Pumpkinhead.
Pumpkinhead. All right. I'm looking forward to it. I am Darby Ellis Lewis Wilson. This is Chris Anonymous, and we have been compelled by Schlock, and we are going to see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Schlockity schlock. Schlock, 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 schlock. Schlock, schlocky, schlock, schlock. Schlock. Schlock, schlocky, schlock, schlock.